Hey there, I'm Griffin, and I've never been out of the country until today. Because a few weeks ago, I made an impulse purchase and booked a ticket to Ireland and Disneyland Paris. But first, I gotta get there. So join me for the highs, the lows, or simply to witness my poor financial decisions. And welcome to Parks, Paths, and Passports. Alright, after a very long 14-hour flight, I finally landed here in beautiful Dublin City. The first thing on the agenda, go and grab some breakfast. After a bit of wandering around, I stumbled into this very cute cafe. It was on this adorable little alleyway street. It was a very small restaurant, so I didn't just want to start taking pictures because tables were pretty close together. But here was my breakfast. It was phenomenal. Just came from a very nice cafe, and currently on my way to Jameson Distillery. So we'll see how that goes. I think it'll be fun. Got a tour. I do. It should be pretty fun. But it's gorgeous here. A bit cold, but not bad. Alright, finally found a semi-solitude place. But I'm at Jameson Distillery right now, and I got the little tour. So I'm just gonna walk around here. I got my free little shot of Jameson. You know, it's pretty cool. Huh. This whiskey is good. Just talks about, the story of it and everything, which is kind of cool. I'm not positive if I'm able to record on the tour, we'll see. Like, this place is, it's gorgeous. Oh man, these old bottles of whiskey. It's pretty cool. Man, I am finding it more difficult than I anticipated to just film. I don't know what it is. Maybe the more I drink of this, the more I'll film. I feel like that will go hand in hand. Everyone is very nice here in Ireland, but literally whenever I go into anywhere, they're immediately like, yeah, what can I get you? And I panic and I'm like, yeah, a shot of espresso. So I've had a lot of espresso already. So this will hopefully counteract that.
I'm talking everything from origin story to ingredients and everything in between. But when it comes right down to it, whiskey is simply a combination of science and art. And today in Midleton, our whiskey master is overseeing the process of making every bottle of Jameson. Now it's in three parts. The first part is our ingredients. Folks, having our distillery in Midleton County, Cork is fantastic, as two of our key ingredients are right beside us. The first, of course, is water. Now, the word whiskey comes from the Irish and Gaelic, Ishkabaha. And when translated, Ishkabaha means the water of life. Also, there are Burley River that runs in the grounds of our distillery is the life force. We have a whiskey making process. Our second key ingredient is barley. The barley that we use grow within a radius of 160 kilometers from the distillery. Also use premium, non-genetically modified corn. Now, Jameson is one of a few whiskies worldwide that uses two types of barley. The first type used to make our Jameson with is called, unmalted barley. Now, unmalted barley is just barley from the fields. The husk is intact, it is hard, but it gives the whiskey a lovely creamy mouth coating with a hint of spice as well. That's our first type of barley, unmalted. The second type we used to make our Jameson with, it's pretty obvious actually, malted barley. Now, malted barley is much the same as unmalted, except before it comes to us, it goes to the malt house where it's soaked in water for 2 days. It then comes out of the water, is now stored in a more humid environment until germination begins. We're tricking, like it's springtime, at spring releases sugars and enzymes that we need later on for fermentation. We now apply some heat. The heat will stop the germinating process, and that lets us access those really important sugars. And my friends, that's all malt is, dried, germinated barley. Folks, your tables are lit up. On each side of the table there are two trays. The trays are full of grain, full of malted and unmalted barley. Now they look the same, but they're actually quite different. Now before the pandemic, the trays were not. They were open. And we get people take malted barley out, they have a smell. Unmalted barley smells very sweet. Now it should, it's full of sugar. Then do the same with the unmalted. It looks the same as malted. When you smell it, you have a very different smell. It smells like freshly cut grass. The problem was, people would start licking and biting the grains. And then they put the grains back. I worry about people. No, seriously. Now the Portuguese, of course, barley is cevada. Cevada, of course, is Portuguese. Yep. In Welsh, barley hates, of course, hates this Welsh. Folks, here in Jameson, we're almost, but not quite, fanatical about maintaining the crisp and taste of the barley. So when we dry our germinating grains, we use hot air. One in Scotland, a lot of our cousins will use turf or peat. Now by using turf like this imparts a peaty, smoky flavour to our Scottish whiskies. A few steps to go before we get to distillation. We're going to go and grind our grains down. Now they're ground down into a flour we call grist. Added now to hot water, then beaten and mashed. What we're doing here is extracting the sugars, filter the mash, and with a liquid we call wort. It's full of sugar, so we add some yeast. Yeast eats the sugars, and as it does so, it now releases carbon dioxide or CO2, more importantly, it now releases alcohol. And folks, that's all alcohol is. It's just a byproduct of yeast, which is a single-celled, living organism that eats sugar. As it eats the sugar, it changes the sugar into carbon dioxide and alcohol. So if you're making gin, rum, wine, beer, vodka, or whiskey, and you don't have sugar, you have basically just a colored water. It's very important. Look for this. At the end of the fermentation process, we have a liquid, okay? That now contains alcohol. It's not a lot of alcohol. It's only about 10% alcohol by volume. Our American guest, of course, is 20 proof.
Thank you.
And by the way, it's now called beer because the first 5 steps in making whiskey, they are the same as making beer. So we have our beer. It is 10% alcohol by volume, that's 20 proof. Now folks, it's not a huge amount, okay? But this is absolutely perfect for distillation. Now we distill in these old style giant copper pots or more modern and efficient column stills, and here is how it works. The beer is sent to the first still. We now apply some heat. Alcohol boils at a lower temperature than water, which means the first vapors to rise are high in alcohol. Vapors travel to the body and so escape to the neck still itself. But the vapor's freedom is short-lived because the vapors are now processed through a condenser. They go through the condenser and the vapors cool. As they cool, they change back into liquid. So after a few hours, we turn the heat off. Now by turning it off before the temperature still reaches the boiling point of water, this traps all the water in the still, but the alcohol is free to continue on its journey. Most American whiskeys are at one time distilled. Next up is the faint still. Now, a lot of our Scottish cousins will now stop at the end of second distillation. But John Jameson, he figured out that whiskey 3 times made it smoother. And the second distillation is second, third, and final still, simply called, of course, the spirit still. Now, making a whiskey this way, the giant copper pots, gives us what's called pot still whiskey. Seen as a typical style of Irish whiskey, we make another style of whiskey in Midland called grain whiskey. And this is made with malted barley and corn, but distilled in a more modern and efficient column still. And making it this way is called deemed lighter, but compared to the fuller bodies, pot still whiskeys. My friends, at your tables, distillation is lit. Now, there are 2 pots. There says we're distilling the 2 little pots there. They have little cards in them. In front of them are 2 atomizers wrapped in copper. Take a card, as a card holder, okay? Then I want you to go to the atomizer on the right-hand side, where it says pot still. Imagine you're in a department store, and you're checking out the testers for the aftershave perfumes. Like in a department store, and they have a Chanel concession, and the 2 testers, Chanel No. 5, and Blue Chanel. So take a card, go to the pot still, have 3 or 4 or 5 glove sprays, don't be shy, okay? And have a smell. Now folks, what you're actually smelling here is raw pot still spirit. Spicy, robust, full-bodied, and aromatic, okay? Oh yeah. When it's smelling it, there's a little slop. Card in the slop, take another card out. And this one goes to the left, where it says column still. And column still is said to be light, delicate, fragrant, and floral, okay? Although it's funny, column still is 95% alcohol, 190 proof, while the pot still is only 84%. But the pot still comes across to be much stronger, even though it's actually the column still has a higher alcohol content. Now with the column still, it is cevada and meal put in corn, and corn in Welsh is called, I think it's sorry. Locked down. You should. Hate is lovely for barley, but I think what are you going to call corn? I'll call it rats. You could have come with a better word, I think. Right, folks. So pot still is spicy. Column still is light, delicate, fragrant, and floral. Now, some prefer one over the other, but we need both to make most of our whiskies with. So we don't play favorites. And I will be honest, if I had more time in this room, I would spend it on distillation. It is absolutely fascinating. We have the time, which is terrible, but such is life. My friends, next step on our journey is going to be maturation. Now, we mature our Jameson from barrel types that are mainly imported from the United States of America and Spain. Now, barrels in America have been used before to mature bourbon or American whiskies, while from Spain to mature sherry wines, by using barrels we used before leaving them seasoned. And raising off the lovely smell of flavors and colours of two are whiskies. My friends, at your tables, maturation is there are two pots. One is marked bourbon, one is marked sherry. We're going to open the bourbon pot. Now, when it's open, put your nose into it and smell. Oh, yeah. And what you are smelling here is my whiskey maturing in ex-bourbon barrels. And this is part of it, toasted with a bit of nuttiness, lots and lots of vanilla. Do the same now, it says sherry. And you do get a very, very different smell. This time it's dried fruits, it's figs, some tannins and raisins, okay? Now, I really should point out as well, they are just two of about 35 different cask types at our disposal. Of course, we have whiskies maturing in port wine casks and also Madeira wine casks as well, okay? To let you know that. So we haven't forgotten about that. So the thing is, today my company makes about 88 different whiskies. And depending on what whiskey we're going to make, we are going to use different cask types, okay? But the thing is, because Jameson originally the green bottle, the alcohol in here is only mature in the bourbon and sherry casks. And that is the reason why we're going to talk about those two types on this particular trip. Look, everybody, one of the absolutely fantastic things about Jameson is it's the amount of control that we have over the process. So the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to go and fill some of those barrels. They're not being filled when they are filled and sent to the warehouses. Well, the warehouse spent years waiting. Time passes. You get this fantastic interaction with the spirit of the wood, and the trick of the whiskey comes to the fore. At your table, the flasks are empty. Do nothing except look at them to be surprised. On the left, it's clear, just distilled. On the right one, it looks like after many years, the barrel colour is deeper, but we are missing alcohol. Oh no! Where's the alcohol gone, you cry? Or not? This is the famous angel share. We actually lose about 2% a year to evaporation. This works out at about 82,000 bottles of Jameson a day evaporates. We've the happiest angels in the whole of Ireland. Yeah. Now, my friends, that is a little bit actually how we make our whiskey. Next step is how we drink it. So we're leaving here. Once we throw the back down to our rotations, we get there to take any questions. Do not forget your personal belongings. My friends, let us do this! Woo! You can never have enough.
Okay, after I completely passed out, took a solid nap. It's crazy what 5 shots of whiskey during a tour will do to you. So I took a nap, feeling way better now, and gonna go find a pizza place. I don't really know where I'm going. We're gonna figure it out, you know. Need to go to the train station to grab my little train pass for the rest of the time here, and then go into a music bar. We'll see how it goes. After pizza, I was on my way to the train station to go and get my little pass. Man, it's windy out here. But the sidewalk just ends. So now I need to backtrack a bit in order to find a crosswalk to cross over to get there. But hey, look at the view of the Guinness Brewery. It's pretty cool. Also, it's about a 30-minute walk from my hotel, and I am, after walking it, I'm not feeling great about that, especially with all my stuff. And at like 5 in the morning when my train leaves. But I've been seeing they have little trolley like cable car things, and I think there's a station right behind my hotel, and it goes straight to the train station. So I'm gonna try and see if I can't do that once I find a way to get over there. My plan is to take that back and see where it takes me. But yeah, you can see it. You can see it right now, if you can see it. But yeah, it's just going down that road, which should be a lovely little journey, I think. So we'll try that out on the way back, because this is a stretch with no crosswalk. Man, it is windy out here. But it's great. I'm loving it. Having a great time. After picking up my train pass at the train station, I took the little trolley back, and yeah, there was a stop right behind my hotel, so it worked out perfectly. And then from there, I walked over to Cobblestone, which is a Irish pub that some guy on the plane over told me about. And that concludes day 1 here in Dublin City. Went to a cute cafe, got drunk at Jameson Distillery, walked around the city, saw Dublin Castle and Temple Bar, and finished the day here at Cobblestone, an adorable Irish pub. All around, another fantastic day in the books. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next adventure.